School District Board of Directors regular committee meeting for May 11th, 2022. A roll call, please.
Pollock,
Yes.
Beckman, Piper,
Yes.
Batkin,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Keller, Markley,
Here.
Perry,
Yes.
Bracken. Here.
I suspect Mr. Keller's on his way, so we'll join us when he gets here. Can you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to announce at this time that we do have plans for an executive session following the meeting that week for legal matters. We have this time no action will be taken following that executive session. So moving on to school program, Dr. Shank.
Thank you, Mr. Pollock. Tonight, we are very honored to have with us several of our 2022 retirees, and we'll be starting with the high school. So, Mrs. Finnerty.
Thank you. So unfortunately, too often now you hear teachers leaving 5 years, 6 years, 10 years into the profession. But the two folks that are here tonight that are retiring from the high school are truly what it means to be a dedicated and long-term teacher. They've been here for many years. So I'm going to start with Mr. David Hoffman. Mr. Hoffman, if you will come up and join me. Mr. Hoffman, while we were all enjoying Easter vacation, Mr. Hoffman took a group of students to Penn State University for the FBLA. This gentleman's passion for business, even though we do not have a business department, he supports business in the school and supports our students' post-secondary goals, especially those who are in business, by including them in the FERC's Business Bureau, FBLA, any program in the county, if not the state, so that they have experience and get that experience. His passion to our students is amazing. He has been in multiple different areas in our school over the years that you'll hear about in just a few moments. But I think it's due time that Mr. Hoffman gets to spend some time with his children. As a matter of fact, the high school is going first and not the elementary school because Mr. Hoffman has to drive to the Philadelphia airport to get his son, who has just completed his first year of college. So with that, I'd like to read the resolution of appreciation, Mr. Hoffman. Whereas David B. Hoffman has completed a 35-year career in public school education, and whereas David B. Hoffman has served all 35 of those years in the Oley Valley School District, whereas David B. Hoffman has faithfully served the Oley Valley School District as Future Business Leaders of America advisor, business teacher, librarian, and social studies teacher. And whereas David B. Hoffman has had a profound positive impact on his students, parents, and professional colleagues throughout his career in the Oley Valley. And whereas David B. Hoffman has always demonstrated a gentle nature and is willing to help students and coworkers. Whereas David B. Hoffman has successfully served our aspiring student business leaders through his leadership and commitment in FBLA. And whereas students, parents, and professional colleagues alike have appreciated David B. Hoffman's years of dedicated service. And whereas David B. Hoffman has demonstrated consistent loyalty to the school district over the past 35 years. Therefore, be it resolved that the Oley Valley School District Board of Directors at its meeting on May 11th, 2022, acknowledges the dedicated service of David B. Hoffman to our community. Further, by this action, the board extends to David B. Hoffman its gratitude and that of the citizens of the Oley Valley School District. Congratulations, Mr. Hoffman.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Hoffman, Dr. Shank has something for you. And would you like to say a few words?
Just FIFO, first in, first out. It's been my pleasure. school and pretty much on.
Thank you.
This other very young lady, Miss Carol Smith, if you would come up and join me. This young lady was recently nominated for the Annie Sullivan Award, which is a very distinguished award for those folks that dedicate their career, their lives to serving students with challenges. Mrs. Smith puts a smile on anybody's face. It doesn't matter what type of mood you're in. If you're walking down the hall, she makes you smile. And she does that for the students as well. The students respond to her unlike any other teacher that I have seen. So Carol is also going to spend some time. She is picking up and moving. She's going to be living in Indiana with her family. We're looking at a future professor here. So I just wrote her a letter of recommendation to teach the younger generation of educators. But I would like to read the resolution of appreciation for Carol. Whereas Carol W. Smith has completed a 29-year career in public school education, and whereas Carol W. Smith has served 23 of those years in the Oley Valley School District, and whereas Carol W. Smith has faithfully served the Oley Valley School District as a speech-language therapist, and whereas Carol W. Smith has had a profound positive impact on her students, parents, and professional colleagues throughout her career in the Oley Valley. Whereas Carol W. Smith has been a consummate professional and demonstrated patience, kindness, and caring. And whereas Carol W. Smith has provided high level support for thousands of students. And whereas Carol W. Smith has shared her sound and vast knowledge and experience with parents, staff, and students of the Oley Valley School District. And whereas students, parents, and professional colleagues alike have appreciated Carol W. Smith's years of dedicated service. And whereas Carol W. Smith has demonstrated consistent loyalty to the school district over the past 23 years. Therefore, be it resolved that the Oley Valley School District School Board of Directors at its meeting on May 11, 2022, acknowledges the dedicated service of Carol W. Smith to our community. Further, by this action, the board extends to Carol W. Smith its gratitude and that of the citizens of the Oley Valley School District. Carol, congratulations and best wishes in your retirement.
Enjoy your retirement.
Thing is that I said today that your hair always looks best on the day before you're set for a haircut. Right now, my job looks really good. And I really appreciate my kids, my fellow teachers, my just like.
Thank you. Thank you. He's in right side. Up one. Okay. Thank you. You muted? Dr. Brassi, you there?
Yep, now you guys are coming through. I apologize. I couldn't hear anything with the sound coming from the board's end.
We got you.
Good.
I think so.
You want to tell them why you're not here?
I'm not there this evening. I guess I was lucky enough to finally catch COVID and was positive late in the weekend. So I'm on my 4th day of quarantining.
But it was best to stay home.
Yes, thank you.
So it's great to be here tonight, even via Zoom, to honor some important people from the elementary school and as well as across the school district. We have 4 staff from the elementary school being recognized this evening, with 2 of them being present. In total, the 4 have a combined 108 years of service in education, if you put them all together. That's a lot of experience and commitment to the children of the Oley Valley School District, and it's going to be a great loss. They're absolutely amazing individuals. So the 2 that aren't here tonight that I would just like to recognize is Miss Donna Intosha. She has 24 years in education, and Miss Mary Beth Short, who has 26 years in education. So the first that I believe should be there is Mrs. Kim Torchio. She can come forward. Oh, now I see you, Kim. Like, is she there? Mrs. Torchio has had a great career at Oley. She has no doubt impacted the lives of many students. The one thing that I always will remember about Kim is her calm and caring demeanor with her students. Even when there were tough classes, I always enjoyed being in her classroom. It was a great environment, and I know the kids truly loved being in her room. She was also a great colleague to many at the elementary school, and over her time has dedicated thousands of hours to making students' lives better. So she will be missed at the elementary school. I'll miss her presence. I know her team will, and the rest of the faculty. But I also know Mrs. Torchio will enjoy retirement, relaxing and spending more time with her family. So thank you, Kim, and I'm going to go ahead and read your resolution of appreciation. Whereas Kim M. Torchio has completed a 32-year career in public education, and where she has served 29 of those years in the Oley Valley School District. Whereas Kim M. Torchio has faithfully served the Oley Valley School District as a 2nd and 3rd grade teacher, member of the Math, Literacy, Wellness, and Behavior Committees, and served as grade level chair. Whereas Kim Torchio has profound positive impact on her students, parents, and professional colleagues throughout her career in the Oley Valley. Whereas Kim M. Torchio has always been a positive team player, kind and considerate to students and staff, and looked out for the well-being of others. Whereas Kim M. Torchio has always brought a genuine interest and compassion for each and every student she has had the opportunity to work with. And whereas students, parents, and professional colleagues alike have appreciated Mrs. Torchio's years of dedicated service. And whereas Kim M. Torchio has demonstrated consistent loyalty to the school district over the past 29 years, therefore be it resolved that the Oley Valley School District School Board of Directors at its meeting on May 11, 2022, acknowledges the dedicated service of Kim M. Torchio to our community. Further, by this action, the board extends Kim M. Torchio its gratitude and that of the citizens of the Oley Valley School District. Congratulations, Kim, and best wishes in retirement.
Yeah, no,
Thank you so much for having the opportunity to teach in our school district. I will definitely take many memories with me. I know it's going to be bittersweet, and I wish you continued success as you.
Thank you.
Our next retiree at the elementary school that I believe is present is Miss Sue Ann Brown.
She's there, go ahead.
All right, I can't see her.
Camera shy.
Mrs. Brown has had a great career at Oley. Her commitment to assisting any student as a paraprofessional in our building has allowed many of our students to reach their full potentials. Mrs. Brown is always available to help, regardless of whatever you would ask her to do. She always does it with a smile, even calf duty. She may not totally agree with that, but she's always smiling. And she will absolutely be missed at Oley Valley Elementary School. In retirement, I believe Miss Brown will certainly look forward to relaxing, but also spending a lot more time with her grandkids. So I will read Mrs. Brown's resolution of appreciation. Whereas Sue Ann Brown has completed a 26-year career in public school education, whereas Sue Ann Brown has served all 26 of those years in the Oley Valley School District, whereas Sue Ann Brown has faithfully served the Oley Valley School District as a classroom and life skills paraprofessional, working one-to-one with multiple students during her time at the district. And whereas Sue Ann Brown has had a profound positive impact on her students, parents, and professional colleagues throughout her career in the Oley Valley. And whereas Sue Ann Brown has been wonderful with all her students, effective in managing, reinforcing the skills and academic skills, caring for all of her students, a team player, and dedicated to the staff and students of Oley Valley Elementary School. And where Sue Ann Brown has taken initiatives to step in and help with any student in need. She is helpful with all tasks across the building, and anything that teachers would give her, was efficient in getting tasks complete and assisting all of her teachers and supporting her students. And whereas students, parents, and professional colleagues alike have appreciated Sue Ann Brown's years of dedicated service, and whereas Sue Ann Brown has demonstrated consistent loyalty to the school district over the past 26 years. Therefore, be it resolved that the Oley Valley School District School Board of Directors at its meeting on May 11, 2022, acknowledges the dedicated service of Sue Ann Brown to our community. Further, by this action, the board extends to Sue Ann Brown its gratitude and that of the citizens of the Oley Valley School District. Congratulations, Sue, and best wishes in retirement.
Retirement and your grandchildren. Thank you. I talked in front of a bunch of kids more better than you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it.
To all of our retirees tonight and those that are on camera, we're able to make it, and those that I know we're coming up, we're still waiting on a few more retirements to come in. On behalf of the administration, we want to congratulate you all as well, and thank you for your years of service to the Oley Valley and service to our students. We would not be where we are and without you and the thousands of lives that you have changed forever in a better way. We are jealous, I can tell you that. I know some of us are counting the days we will be far behind you. And those that are moving away, please keep in touch. You know how to find us. We are here when you need anything. I would never forget the tremendous impact that you've had on students and all of us. You make our lives so much easier every day, and the smiles that you give us just give us the strength to keep going on some days, especially at this time of the year and in COVID, knowing that we had your support in the classroom. We didn't have to worry about our children and being taken care of. And then that takes a definite load off of all of our backs as administrators, knowing that we have the best of the best in our classrooms. So I thank you on behalf of all of our administrators, and congratulations to them.
And I'll just reiterate that. Thank you for your service and your time at the school district. We really do appreciate it. Moving on to introduction of guest public comment. This is the point in the meeting where we open to public comment. As for our recently updated district policy 903, public participation in board meetings, a copy of which is available at the sign-in desk, public comment is limited to 45 minutes in total. Each participant is limited to 3 minutes in duration. Each participant shall announce their name and township of residence, please. Public participants may express their concerns over school operations and programs, but may not address complaints about school personnel or other persons. All comments shall be directed toward the board only. A participant may not yield his or her time to any other person. The campaigning for political candidates is not permitted, and defamatory, uncivil, harassing, or rude comments are unacceptable. At this time right now, I only have one blue card, and that's Brandy Fatkin. Thank you, Mrs. Fatkin.
This on? Yeah. All right. Hello, my name is Brandy Fatkin, Alcis Township. I have been a resident of the Oley Valley for 22 years. I have 4 children, 3 of which are still in the Oley school system and 1 that graduated last year. I want to talk today about the recent book challenge of the 9th grade curriculum book, The Perks of Being a Wallflower. As many of you have heard from previous community and parent complaints, this book has some rather disturbing content. I was made aware of a particularly graphic passage depicting a rape scene, which I immediately decided to read for myself. I was, to say the least, shocked that my 9th grade son had been required to read this content. I am and have always been an avid reader, and I do not, let me repeat that, do not believe in book banning, but I do believe in age-appropriate content, not only in books, but in video games, movies, and music, which, as we all know, video games, movies, and music are rated for age appropriateness. I was told that the students were warned about those 2 pages and that they were told they could skip that section if they chose. My first thought as a parent was, number 1, asking kids to look at or to not look at or not read something only makes them more curious and more likely to read that section first. Number 2, there must be some very beneficial content in the remainder of the book to make it worth assigning, even with the graphic rape depiction. So I decided to read the entire book for myself. When I finished the book, I was actually appalled at some of the content. For example, the book covers the well-known rape scene, which is graphic. Then there is the conversation between characters that follows the rape scene, saying that rape is hard to prove in high school and should not be reported because this is what happens when boys and girls love each other. A scene later in the book that depicts 2 characters going to a park where strangers meet up and disperse to have random sex. Another discussion about someone at a high school party trying to have sex with the family dog. And let us not forget the overwhelming theme of drugs and alcohol that is sprinkled throughout the book. I was hoping that I could find a reason to justify this book choice for 9th graders, but I was not able to do so. I do understand that much of the book covered teenage depression, and I was hoping that I could walk away from the book with enough valuable perspective on depression to condone the book, but sadly, I was not able to do that either. As I said earlier, I do not believe in book banning. I have read many books with controversial and quite graphic content, but I read them at an age that was appropriate. I read them with my values and morals already well developed and intact, not at the impressionable age of my early teenage years. I did not read them at a stage in my life that I was navigating my sexual, social, and emotional identity and values. And I certainly did not read them in a school while relying on a teacher to guide and direct my moral compass on those subjects. I have read the letter that was sent in summary of the book challenge that stated, number 1, the book was found to be age appropriate for 9th graders. Number 2, the syllabus presented to parents the first week of school will contain the name of all books being read with alternate choices. And number 3, at open house, the teachers will give a synopsis of the book for attending parents. I don't think this is good enough for this community. I think we can do better. As I mentioned before, I have 4 children. They all mature emotionally, socially, and sexually at different times. And it is my right and responsibility as a parent to decide when they are ready for this type of book content. It is not the responsibility of an English teacher who, number 1, does not know my child's developmental state, and number 2, has not been trained to be a mental health counselor or a sexual education teacher. If the syllabus is going to tell me what books my child is reading, then it should be more information on those books provided to the parents, not only at open house. Many parents cannot come to open house because of work and other commitments. We are a society that rates TV shows, movies, and video games.
Ms. Fatkin, time is up. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was the only card I have. Was there anybody else in the audience who would like to speak to the board tonight? This will be your only opportunity. Okay, thank you. Moving on. I have a motion to approve the school board meeting minutes as presented. You see all the dates listed there. Mr. Heckman seconds the motion. Any questions or comments on the board minutes? Okay, roll call vote, please. Yes.
Piper,
Yes.
Atkins,
Yes.
Beckman,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Boone,
Yes.
Markley,
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
Jackie.
Yes.
Motion approved. Solicitors report.
No report this evening?
Thank you, Mr. Mancuso. Administrative report, Dr. Shea.
No report this evening.
Really? Good.
Agenda's long enough.
Thank you, Dr. Shea. Committee reports. Moving on to budget and finance, Dr. Markle.
Thank you, Mr. Pollack. I have 9 motions for action. I would like to take motion 1, motion 2 separately, and motion 3 through 9 together. I'd like to read motion 1 because of the importance of the motion. Motion 1 is to adopt the Oley Valley School District proposed final general fund budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023, in the amount of $36,174,054 based on a 29.5364 meal real estate tax levy, a per capita tax of $5, a residence tax of $5, a 1% real estate transfer tax, a 1% earned income tax, realizing 50% of the real estate and earned income tax. The real estate tax levy millage increase is 0.499 meals, which equals 1.72%. The budget dollar amount increase is $682,937, which equals 1.92%. The estimated use of $635,768 from unassigned fund balance to balance the budget. According to the Act 1 adjusted index, the Oley Valley School District's maximum millage increase allowed for 22-23 would be 1.161 mils, which would have been an increase of 4%. We did our absolute best to keep the millage as low as we could. And I would like to thank the entire board for their diligence and professionalism in the process for this budget.
Read number 2, by the way.
No, I'd like to
Okay, so Dr. Markey moves on motion number 1. This is Mrs. Atkins seconds the motion. Any other questions or comments on motion number 1? Okay, hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Atkins,
Yes.
Beckman,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Yes.
Markley,
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
Pollock,
Yes.
Atkins,
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
Motion 1 is approved. And again, I appreciate Dr. Markley, but thanks for your help on that.
Motion 2 is to approve the following. Be it resolved, the Board of School Directors of the Oley Valley School District does hereby authorize the administration to work with PFM Financial Advisors LLC as financial advisor, Stevens and Lee, PC as bond counsel, Stiefel Nicholas as underwriter, and a local solicitor in conjunction with the issuance of general obligation bonds series of 2022, the purpose of refunding the Series B of 2012 note, paying the cost of terminating the associated swap, and funding the new money needs of the district in an approximate amount of $1.5 million.
Dr. Markey moves on motion number 2. Again, Mrs. Atkins seconds the motion. Any other questions or comments on motion number 2?
I have questions to the solicitor. Do we have a superintendent spending bond under which the superintendent does not need to ask permission from the board?
I'm sorry, Ms. Baker, can you say that?
Yes. Is there the cap for the superintendent to spend money that she doesn't need to come in front of the board? In order, how much is it?
So you're asking if the board has to approve expenditures?
If the
That
board
would be
has to
correct.
approve expenditures, I understand that some school districts say, like, the superintendent can spend up to $10,000 without asking permission to the board. Is that what we have here, or do we?
So that
do we
would
not
be
have
approved, a policy approved by the board. I'm not aware of such policy. The school code requires that anything above $100 be board, again.
Yeah,
not a
okay,
policy
so
that-
that was, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, roll call vote, please. Who was the second? Second. Second.
Jackson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Markley,
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
Pollock,
Yes.
Atkins, Piper,
Yes.
Patkin,
Yes.
Heckman.
Yes.
Motion 2 is approved.
And I'd like to take motions 3 through 9 as listed.
Mark will move the motions 3 through 9 as listed. Mr. Keller seconds the motion. Questions or comments on motions 3 through 9? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Keller,
Yes.
Markley,
Yes.
Harry,
yes,
Yes.
Bracken,
Yes.
Piper,
Yes.
Patkin,
Yes.
Heckman,
Yes.
Jackson.
yes,
Motions 3 through 9 are approved.
Under information, the 22-23 monthly and annual dental medical cover rates are reported below, and that's it for budget filings.
Thank you, Dr. Markle. Personnel, Mr. Hickman.
Thank you. The committee has 13 items. Please, the board, I'd like to break these up into some specific categories. Starting with motion number 1, I'll take that motion by itself to approve the 2022-23 support staff handbook and benefits brochure.
Mr. Hickman moves in motion number 1. Dr. Markle seconds that motion. Any questions or comments on the support staff handbook? Roll call vote, please.
Harry,
yes,
Pollock,
Yes.
Bracken,
Yes.
Piper,
Yes.
Patkin,
Yes.
Heckman,
Yes.
Jackson,
yes,
Yes.
Markley.
Yes.
Motion 1 is approved.
Thank you. I'd like to take motion 2 as it is, motion to ratify the conference attendance of James Rottenberger and Jonathan Price as listed.
Mr. Hickman moves in motion number 2 as listed. Dr. Patkin seconds the motion. Questions or comments on motion number 2? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Pollock,
Yes.
Bracken,
Yes.
Piper,
Yes.
Patkin,
Yes.
Heckman,
Yes.
Jackson,
yes,
Keller,
Yes.
Markley,
Yes.
Harry.
yes,
Motion 2 is approved.
If you're with me here, I'd like to group the motions that deal with approving approval of teachers and their mentors. So I'd like to make a motion that would cover items 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, and 10 as listed.
Mr. Hickman moves in motions 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, and 10 as listed. He seconds those motions. So any questions on 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, and 10?
Yes, question number 3 and 4. It says appointment of the teachers. What current positions do they occupy?
Their replacement to retirees for the elementary.
Are they currently in school district?
They are actually currently working for us as, one is a reading intern and the other one is a long-term sub.
You are listed as replacement.
Yeah,
positions,
replacement
which is accurate.
positions.
Any other questions? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Bracken,
Yes.
Piper,
Yes.
Patkin,
Yes.
Heckman,
Yes.
Jackson,
yes,
Keller,
Yes.
Markley,
Yes.
Harry.
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Motions 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, and 10 are approved.
Thank you for that. We'll move to motion 6. I'll take it by itself. To approve the transfer of Deb Berniker from the position of executive assistant to the superintendent to the position of director of human resources effective July 1, 2022 at a salary of $72,000, benefits per the Act 93 agreement.
Mr. Hickman moves in motion number 6. Okay, seconds that motion. Questions or comments on motion number 6? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Piper,
No.
Patkin,
Yes.
Heckman,
Yes.
Jackson,
yes,
Keller.
No.
Markley,
Yes.
Harry,
yes,
Yes.
Bracken,
Yes.
Motion approved 7-2.
congratulations.
Thank you,
You
Mr.
want to come meet
Berniker.
the board, please? Congratulations. We're gonna take a load off of me. You, just, since you're here, just give the board a little bit of a background and, a bit about all the training that you've gone through from PASPA and HSRM and just a few highlights.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's so many people who don't know.
Yeah,
the development
absolutely.
You've gone.
And it was nice to meet some of you this evening, and I look forward to having the opportunity to continue to work with you that I have already, and to work with those that I haven't yet had the opportunity to work with. So first of all, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity, and to Dr. Shank also. You know, I I had a conversation today with, I know we have a packed agenda, I'll make it quick, but conversation today with Mrs. Chang, and I said, when I first started my position here as a support staff in a school district, I thought to myself, you know, is this the fit for me? Is this what I want to do? And I thought, you know what? You hear how great it is to work in a school district. And I'm gonna give this a go. I can do anything for a year or two. It was in 2008. So here we are, 14 years later. And I feel that that is me being here that long, I think, is a testament to this district, this community, students, the staff. I've had nothing but positive, energizing working relationships, with productive, energizing working relationships with people in this district. I came here from being a director of financial aid at a career and technical secondary school. And unfortunately, there was oversaturation in that market in 2007. So there were some campus closures. So I ended up transitioning here to 2008. And since then, I just have been blessed to have the opportunity, as each year has gone by, to just continue to advance and learn more every year, and have great mentors along the way, from Dr. Shank to be fellow administrators. I know this is effective July 1st, but to have the opportunity to work with those administrators. And PASPA, the Pennsylvania Association of School Personnel Administrators, has been a very good resource to use with everything from employee litigation to workers' comp to FMLA guidelines to education discipline investigations, and they will continue to be a good resource to use as I step into this position. And I basically really look forward to the opportunity to continue working with everybody. I think to maintain productive, efficient, successful work environment can only provide our students with the best of the best. And that's what they're deserving of. So thank you for the opportunity. And I look forward to continue working with all of you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Go get your son.
Oh, go get my son.
Yes, go get your son. She has a 6-year-old who needs mommy. So I'm gonna just let her go get her son. Thanks, though.
Thank you.
Move to motion number 7 to approve the transfer of Jennifer Merrill from the position of elementary teacher to the position of high school librarian, high school gifted teacher, effective July 1, 2024.
Mr. Hagan moves to motion number 7. Again, Dr. Markley seconds the motion. Questions or comments on motion number 7?
I have a question actually we could do the superintendent, because at the last meeting, I've asked as far as covering the need of parents and students that are currently falling through the cracks. And this position was supposed to be like a 3-year lookup. And then Dr. Shank's answer was she's going to move some things around. Why have not they been moved around to actually accommodate that shortage that we have? Yeah. Last meeting, you had stated, your reply to my question was that to accommodate the current shortage for career advancement for the high school students, the current position Ms. Muriel would not be able to do, and you will have to move things around to accommodate for that. So that was actually your exact phrase was, I have to move some things around, and I need to know whether or not the board is going to approve this position. So why have not you moved things around? Because
What am-
the
what am I-
need has been existed.
What am I moving around? I don't have a title position that doesn't start until July 1. What am I moving?
Question was.
I
Question
don't
was,
understand what you're asking.
um,
What am I moving and when am I moving?
this is what you stated, you're going to be moving things around to accommodate the need of students that currently fall into the cracks. And the need for the students for this professional development was, and the job assistance in the job, the search for the job when applying to colleges.
That's correct.
And you said the current position for Ms. Muriel is going to be a 3-year development. It's not going to happen overnight. She would not be able to step to the plate and fulfill this demand. So you would have to move things around. That was the phrase you used.
Correct.
So,
You can't expect somebody to walk in a new job and have everything in place they want,
okay, then how come we have not moved things around?
because I don't have a teacher in place to move anything to. There's no position to move it to.
So who's going to be actually fulfilling right now the current void?
There is nobody fulfilling, which is why I asked for a position.
There is no void yet.
There is.
There is a
And
void.
parents already
There is
stated
a
that.
void.
There's a void
There
today.
is.
Yes, we don't.
There is.
Which is we have a
shortage
void in
today
gifted.
and now. And
You have
students
avoided,
fall
but we've had that.
We've had, which is why I asked for the position. So I
Right,
can,
but if she, in other words, Mrs. Muriel can't leave her class.
right now,
That
right, because this position doesn't even start
doesn't
until
start till
July.
July.
Correct.
So,
So when July comes.
Correct, but
so she is gonna be the one filling the void you're speaking.
Correct.
She can't leave her class. that
Right.
she's teaching.
Eric, this is not how the whole discussion that actually we were trying to look for qualifications. The concern was, will Ms. Muriel be able to address the void here and now? And Dr. Shank's answer was no, because she will have to move things around.
Correct.
So,
But what you're asking for is what will take 3 years to develop in the areas of internships, business articulations, career academy internships, transition placements, readiness, how students, our gifted students apply to very competitive colleges. There's a whole development of our gifted program, which is a 3-year process. It changes in the Chapter 16 regulations which govern gifted. That is all of a 3-year process, which pieces of that are implemented first, second, and third, or over time will take 3 years. It doesn't mean that what you're asking as far as getting children, students ready for college is in the first wave of that development. But the program, you cannot put a full-blown program in on day one and have it to be successful. It is a developmental program unless it's 3 years. Can she do the job? Most definitely, and will do it well. But it doesn't mean that you're gonna have the best of the best program on day one when this person starts on July 1.
how come you have a void?
So they didn't
And
have,
how long has it been going up?
the void was when it started because we didn't have the money without raising taxes significantly to fill a position when a person retires. And the board made the decision not to raise taxes and try another means to keep taxes low, not fill a position to save money, and try to spread out the gifted program at the high school among 2 other teachers to save taxpayer money, which then we tried, it did not work. And then we came back to the board and asked for to do another way to try the gifted program. So it was a way to try to save taxpayer money by not filling positions for nutrition, and it did not work.
So we have 3 guidance counselors currently in high school.
Correct. You could use
And we
4.
still have a board.
Correct. You could use 4 guidance counselors easily with the mental health that we face in high school.
And when I asked you a question, if those guidance counselors are psychologists or trained psychologists, you said we have all other staff to fulfill those needs. So now, what are the guidance counselors doing and not doing? Why are we still having void?
Because their roles are different. A school psychologist's role is different than a school counselor's role. They're two different responsibilities, they're two different job descriptions, they're two different functions in a public school.
Certainly hope that this position is going to serve our students. And I'd like to see what the plan is going to be to accommodate students that currently fall in private.
Any other questions? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Abstain.
Heckman,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Keller.
Yes.
Markley,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Yes.
Bracken,
Yes.
Motion, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Piper.
Yes.
Motion approved with one abstention.
That will move to motions 11 and 12, which still deal with FMLAs. I'll take 11 and 12 as listed.
Second moves in motions 11 and 12 as listed. Dr. Markey seconds those motions. Questions or comments on motions 11 and 12? Hearing none, roll call vote, please. Sure. Yeah.
Heckman,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Markley.
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Pollock,
Yes.
Bracken,
Yes.
Piper,
Yes.
Bracken.
Yes.
Motions 11 and 12 are approved.
And finally, 13, it's with great honor, I make a motion to approve the Oley Valley High School class of 2022 list of potential graduates as follows. All graduates.
Thank you.
Hear that?
Mr. Hickman moves in motion number 13. Again, Dr. Markey seconds that motion. Any questions, comments, or concerns about the list of graduates? Roll call vote, please.
Jackson,
Yes.
Keller,
Yes.
Markley,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Pollock,
Yes.
Bracken.
Yes.
Piper,
Yes.
Bracken.
Yes.
Heckman.
Yes.
Motion number 13 is approved. Congratulations to the graduates.
Our next meeting is June 6th, 2022, 6:30 p.m. That's what I.
Thank you, Mr. Hickman. Moving on to policy, Dr. Fatkin.
Mr. Pollock, I have one motion for action tonight. That is to approve the following policies, 300 section personnel for second reading. Board approval will be June 15th.
Fatkin moves in motion number 1. Keller seconds the motion. Okay. Any questions or comments on that motion? Okay, Dr. Shank, roll call vote, please.
Keller,
Yes.
Markley,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Pollock,
Yes.
Bracken.
Yes.
Piper,
Yes.
Bracken,
Yes.
Heckman,
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Motion 1 is approved.
For information, that's next meeting date, June 6th, 2022.
Thank you, Dr. Fatkin. Moving on to curriculum, Dr. Markley.
Thank you, Mr. Pollock. I have 12 motions for action this evening. I'd like to take all 12 as listed. I noticed most of these we went over at a committee meeting. And number 4 is the flexible instructional days for the next few years in accordance with the school code. So if you have any questions or would like me to pull any of these separately, please say so now. All 12 now.
Dr. Markley moves in motions 1 through 12 as listed. Mrs. Piper seconds that motion. Questions or comments on motions 1 through 12?
Actually, would like to have suggestion for number 9, variance program. I would like to see if we can get the report in 6 months of how it's been used and how effective it is. Is it possible to have? To make sure that it is actually used this year. As intended.
I would ask that Dr. Schenk, would you please look at that? If it would be okay with Mrs. Piper for next January when they come out with their annual look in for us, because to do it now, it's not going to show.
I can show you that all 7th and 12th graders have used it.
I know,
I mean, that's
I
what it's
know
gonna
what the
show you.
COVID situation was, and you explained before with Naviance, and I think a fair look at Naviance would be to let it run through our next school year into January, and maybe come back with them with some update.
All it's gonna show is they log in. Give you a login.
That would be fun.
It doesn't give how many times to log in? How
No.
often you use it? It's just,
Just
so
gives
you
you
can
a-
log in just one time and
It
it
gives
just.
you the last login date. So if you log in today, it'll show you the last login date.
At least you can look at how many students logged in. That would probably be. Okay.
No problem.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Motions 1 through 12?
Of identifying through survey or something how effective they think it is of the tool. I mean,
It's better than the one we used before, and you have to use one by the state. So you're either using Naviance or using the career, what is it, a career counselor?
Yeah,
career
that was
something.
not that.
That was worse than Naviance.
Naviance
But if
was
you
the best
don't
with
use
that.
one, then you're in violation of the career benchmarks that are reported on I mean, we have to report on the state through PIMS, and it's part of your, here. So even if you don't use this one, you have to use the other one, which is worse than this one. So it's a lesser, whatever you want to look at, it's a lesser two evils, but they do use it, guidance does use it, and I can have guidance do a presentation on Naviance if you would like, so you can hear directly from them how they use it. Which would be more beneficial to you than a login report.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Markley,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Pollock,
Yes.
Stacking,
Yeah.
Piper,
Yes.
Patkin.
Yes.
Beckman,
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Motions 1 through 12 are approved.
Next meeting is June 6th. That's it.
Dr. Markley, moving on to property and transportation, Ms. Piper.
Motions 1 through 3, if anybody has any questions or want to go.
Seeing no objections, so Mrs. Piper moves the motions 1 through 3 as listed. Mr. Keller seconds those motions. Any other questions or comments on those 3 motions?
I only have a question to the solicitor. So it's, how do the procedures work as far as like obtaining the bids? What contract go to the states and what contract actually required to go to bid?
So again, that is a school code position statute that's contained in your policies. Once a certain item gets to a threshold, and once it hits that threshold, you either have to bid yourself or go into a joint purchasing consortium or a state bidding contract. So those are your 3 options. Once it hits that threshold, you're limited to those.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Perry,
Yes.
Pollock,
Yes.
Stacking.
Yes.
Piper,
Yes.
Patkin.
Yes.
Beckman,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Yes.
Markley.
Yes.
Motions 1, 2, 3 are approved.
Next meeting is June 6th.
Thank you, Mr. Piper. Moving on to student activities. Mrs. Jackson, you up for that?
Yes, I'm here. This evening, we have 3 motions, and I'd like to take those as listed as a group, unless somebody'd like me to pull any of those out.
I believe so. So Mrs. Jackson moves the motions 1, 2, and 3 as listed. Dr. Markley seconds those motions. So any questions or comments on those 3?
I have a question on the number 3.
Touching the Future is a preschool that we work closely with that feeds our elementary and our local Head Start. And it's just a flyer that is handed out as an opportunity for our parents to use a accredited preschool if they should so choose. They do have scholarships and a graduated payment plan for tuition costs for those. It's just an advertisement. So our local preschool, schools that we have. They do. Any other questions or comments? Roll call vote, please. Pollock?
Yes.
Zakin?
Yeah.
Piper?
Yes.
Vacan?
Yes.
Beckman? Jackson?
Yes.
Keller?
Yes.
Markley?
Yes.
Harry?
Yes.
Motions 1, 2, and 3 are approved.
Okay. Under information, we'd like to congratulate the seniors who are going to be pursuing their athletic careers at a collegiate level. And there's a list of young men and women who are going to be continuing on there. So congratulations to them. And the other information, it's reported that the district will offer K-12 student and athletic accident insurance through AIG administrators for the period of August 1st, 2022 to August 1st, 2023. The information and applications can be obtained online at the district website or in the main offices of each school. And our next meeting date will be June 6, 2022.
Mrs. Jackson. Legislative Committee, Mrs. Zakin.
I have no action items this evening and no report.
Thank you, Mrs. Zakin. BCIU, Mrs. Jackson again.
Yes, at our last meeting, we had a press event celebrating 50 years of the BCIU. They had the past administrators there. Quite a few people from Berks County were there to represent the county and to support the IU. It was a very nice event. And then we went on to our meeting. There's some information posted on what happened in April 2022, the news link and the redistricting map. And our next meeting date for the BCIU is May 19th.
Thank you again, Mrs. Jackson. Ag Advisory, Mr. Keller.
Except for Saturday, June 18th, they're having the barbecue. Yeah,
At the fair,
at the fairgrounds, yes.
June 18th.
June 18th.
Like open to everybody or just?
Oh yeah, it's food trucks and everything. It's a big event.
Yeah.
Big fundraiser. A lot of good food.
On my way to get there. Thank you, Mr. Keller. Under negotiations, I have a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Oley Valley Education Association and the Oley Valley School District regarding the use of flexible instruction days for the years 22-23, 23-24, and 24-25. And also, motion number 2, I have a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between Oley Valley Education Association and the Oley Valley School District regarding extra and co-curricular positions beginning July 1, 2022. So move, Mr. Heckman, second that motion. Questions or comments on those two motions? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Piper?
Yes.
Vacan?
Yes.
Beckman?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yes.
Keller?
Yes.
Markley?
Yes.
Harry?
Yes.
Pollock?
Yes,
Zakin?
Yeah.
motions 1 and 2 are approved. And we have no meeting scheduled as of yet. PC, it's coming, yeah.
It's coming.
PCTC, Mr. Heckman.
We're gonna follow no action items for information or JOC briefs and minutes from our March 23rd meeting are presented. The next meeting is the 25th of this month at the East Campus. Also, I want to extend a thank you to Dr. Stauffer and the staff at BCTC, especially the East Campus. They were able to give us a tour of the East Campus. We had 3 board members there. We saw the East Campus facilities. We saw the student built house under construction, which you get at least in the basement. Neat stuff down there. And we also got to the area where we are using the heavy equipment township at one of the quarries. And I think there were at least 6 or 7 pieces of heavy equipment being used at one time, different students moving these piles of stone all around, but all in radio contact. And I did ask Dr. Stauffer to get us a video, not only for this board, but for also the JOC, just to see it. It's pretty darn impressive.
I'm sure.
What they're doing down there.
It's awesome.
Neat. Guys, any comments?
Well, wish I would have had it when I was in school. I think the connotation when I was in school, not to you know, you had vote tech,
Right.
you had the tech, kids who go to vote tech. I'm telling you what, people are missing out because they've got some great stuff going on over there, and that the program with the heavy machine equipment. So, but I'd love to get a bulldozer.
You and I have to do the simulator.
But and I ate a cookie at the culinary too, just so you know.
And when he left, we all stopped.
Yeah.
I was sorry I missed it. I really wanted to get there, but my work couldn't allow for me. But I've had a couple of tours of the facilities over the years, and yeah, it's an impressive facility. Both of them are very impressive. And Mr. Stoppard, I mean, he's right in his element there. So I know that there's some good leadership. So thanks for setting it up.
One other point I want to mention is everything's as the Curtin Vocak Career Technology Center in modern days, that it's for direct to new careers, bricklaying, plumbing, all those sort of things. But they made a very, very strong point that there are programs like the computers, the cybersecurity, like all the health occupations programs and all that. They're really post-secondary. Those students are going to be going on to RAC or Pennsylvania College of Technology or Penn State or wherever. So it's not just the careers now, it's the careers after post-secondary. They made a very good point about that. Again, it's an important selling point for the program.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Hickman. Berks EIT TCC, Mrs. Weiner.
Thank you, Mr. Pollard. There are 5 reports for April. And our next meeting is June 30 at 6 o'clock.
Thank you, Mr. Weiner. Communications, Ms. Perry, you up for that?
I have nothing tonight, sir.
Thank you, Mrs. Perry. Secretary report, Dr. Shank.
All the agenda items are listed for your review through the first day of school.
Thank you, Dr. Shank. Under other, I have a motion to approve Dawn Zackin as the Oley Valley School Board Treasurer for 1-year term commencing July 1, 2022 and concluding June 30, 2023, and shall be bonded annually. Second seconds the motion. Questions or concerns with Mrs. Zackin continuing as treasurer? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Heckman,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Fuller,
Yes.
Markley.
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Yes.
Zackin,
Yes.
Pfeiffer,
Yes.
Backman.
Yes.
Motion approved. Congratulations, Mrs. Zackin. You get to sign another bunch of bills for next year. And other information is reported that May 18th board meeting will begin at 7:30 p.m. to accommodate STEM Fest that evening. So I appreciate everybody's cooperation on that. So again, the May 18th board meeting will be at 7:30 right here. Do we have any unfinished business?
I'd like to talk about the just a couple questions for Dr. Shank. Wondering, I was looking in policy. Is this solely left up to you then to form the committee that to the challenge?
High school principal forms the committee.
The high school, and then that's your purview. I couldn't find a policy that spells out how that's
Who's on the committee is in the policy. That's
which policy?
That's enough. I don't have it with
It was
me.
109, I mean, the form I filled out was 109 AR4.
Yeah, the AR is the reg that goes with policy
So how do I find
109.
that?
109.
109 is just say,
Give me a second.
you know what I mean? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Really.
The ARs are the policy. The number of the AR goes with the policy. And then it says who has to be on what titles, parents, teachers, all of that.
So it's spelled out in
Like,
policy.
yeah, it says,
how that
it says
goes?
parents, teachers, you know, who can be on the fit committee.
And do you put that out for some parents?
They kind of put out for,
Okay.
to find
I'm just
people.
curious how that all.
Yeah.
So where is it advertised so parents know? How do you, so is it?
I actually chose the parent that I knew that comes to board meetings and has been following all of it. So they were versed in the discussion and has been neutral on both sides of the issue. So I recommend it to the high school principal who to use because the person I know has been objective and not one-sided review.
So then if there are other parents that would like to be participating in the review, how would they?
The review isn't an open, everybody participate review. It's not how book challenge, that's not how book challenge works. It's not a,
Basically, even the parents get cherry picked.
Dr. Markley, would you like to try to explain
No, but I will for you.
it? Thank you.
Many years ago in a town far away, there was a book challenge.
Mhm.
That book challenge took up weeks and hours after hours. And then we sat down and decided to come up with a way to remedy a book challenge with the committee. Because if you don't have a certain number on committee, you will never make a final decision. So the policy went through and the book committee is set as per Dr. Schenk, what she said. There are administrators, a librarian, I think, on that committee. I think a parent. There's a group that is a diversified group that will discuss, come up with an answer and a recommendation for the board.
Requirement to read the entire book, or is it just reading certain excerpts from it?
They
Or-
read the entire book as part of it, and they all have a form they fill out. You have to individually, before the committee even gets together, you have to read it on your own, you get a copy of the book. You have to do it's like a reflection sheet of your own that you have to bring to the committee on a certain date after you've read the entire book. Fill it out on your own, discussion with committee members amongst themselves before, so everybody's read it. Then the committee gets together and then they discuss it amongst themselves, the whole committee, and come to consensus on what the recommendation would be. And being a public school that represents all choices, all facets, all opinions. We're not private, we're not a charter school. We have to, it's all about parent choice, and that's when the committee recommended that it's an option. And that the parents sign off, and then they will have a sign off, even actually sign off in middle school books as well in the LA. We're using modern literature for modern times, so that they will present it at open house, and they will also present it at different points, because as you know, there are.
I think open house, I mean, there's a lot of
It's
parents
the
that
start,
don't attend
right.
that.
But
So
we also do the open houses also online. So they also do record stuff and post it online, because a lot of our open houses are no longer showing in person in the video, like our back to school night, it's the videos you're watching online now. So if you can't make it that night, you just watch it another time. But also with the English department, knowing that like in English 9, you may want to study a novel for 6 weeks. So who's going to remember in February that the book list came out in September? So part of it is with English, even if I'm a 7th grade English teacher, is reminding parents like, hey, here comes the book. Because, life goes on. You're not going to remember what you talked about in September. Everybody knows that. So they have built in the revisit with that. But it's still parent choice. If you don't want to, we have parents that don't want to read certain things in, whether it be Shakespeare or certain things in world culture, certain things in health. And it's the same curriculum review and opt-out. That's always been in public education. The private, parochial, charter are very different, and that's where it's much more narrow as to what parents' choice is. In public school, we still have to address it. And that's where that committee came out with the recommendation for the sign-offs and the options and let parents. But it's not like the only notification you get will be at open house. It's just that's where we get the majority, especially for freshman parents. They usually come to open house at the beginning of the year. By the time they get to be sophomores and juniors, we never see them again. But a lot of our freshmen come because that's the first time their first exposure to high school. Especially for a lot of our students, it's the first time, and it's the first child you have coming into high school. Learn ability with the teachers. But they have that built in throughout, whether in English, even in middle school, we put that in there as well. So it starts right there.
Okay, thank you. So the deliberation process, whether it's 2/3 majority or pretty much you discuss it until everybody's satisfied that it's okay or not.
In the committee?
Yeah.
Yeah, they went through it till everybody was satisfied, and even, they came to my understanding is, because I'm not involved at that level, was that they talked through the parts of the book that were up to question. And the parent choice and the sign off and having the options is that works for all parents, because there are some parents that were very supportive of that book and having it in the curriculum, but also agreed with the fact that There are parents that won't, and that needs to be a parent's decision as to whether, you know, you can do this or you can do this.
All right, and so when we talked about this before, we're making it more clear.
Yep, and the sign offs and then, you know, and having that out there because there might be something, and I'll just bring up, because I know even with, you know, Dr. Markley, when he did his time in high school principal, one of the big things at that time was a chapter in World Cultures on Islam. We had people signing out of not wanting their students to participate, even though it was a survey of Islam or the Middle East, and they would sign out. We have people that sign them out of seventh grade social studies when they do unit on geography and Middle Eastern culture.
It's like dissection. or
And
anything.
dissection, they sign them out, or we sign them out of health, and they sign them out, but it's not just English. We provide alternative assignments in public school. We provide it, you have the option to take it, or we provide something else. That's public ed.
Has the sign off on books has been here before? Because I believe I recall Dr. Markley said that when he was teaching, actually, any controversial subjects were presented to the parents to sign off on.
When you were teaching,
I wasn't teaching here, but when I was teaching long.
that's what I was saying, like,
That's a long time.
that was a whole
yes.
different world
That's a
when
different
you and
world.
I were teaching.
Yes.
Okay, did our school had this policy before?
I can't answer that.
But
No,
it
the
is,
only thing
it's
I-
going to be it's going to be now. All right.
The only thing I can answer for you is that when Dr. Schenk and I were leaders in this school, and she still is, we tried to help every parent that you called who had a problem, who said, I can't do a forward roll in phys ed. I would talk to the phys ed teacher, we would come up with another way.
Alternative assignment.
Every time we worked with that parent or guardian to be successful, so that student would not be ostracated or bullied in any way.
Teaching wrestling, remember we had wrestling?
Yes.
That was a little bit off topic. We're talking just, sorry. It's about,
Same
I'm trying
concept.
to focus on the book as specifically parental consent when it comes to the books with, you know, sort of controversial issues.
So,
Uh,
oh, go ahead.
Not quite. So you said about the committee and how people are picked. So what are your ways to guarantee that diversity in a committee?
Was there what? Diversity in the committee.
Yeah, how do you assure that there is a diversity in the committee? Because I understand it's just whoever principal picks, or you recommended somebody. So how do you guarantee that there's going to be diversity on that review committee?
Because when the high school principal looked at who she was putting on the committee, she tried to balance people that needed to be on the committee, high school librarian. We looked at a balance of parents that we knew that were on both sides of the issue. We tried to look at, you know, we had to have teacher representatives, those that were in the English department on both sides of the issue. We tried to look at, we didn't stack the deck, if that's what you're accusing us of.
I didn't accuse anybody, I asked the
Well,
question.
you just asked the question and I just answered the question. Next question.
Okay, the only thing, it seems like the error is they want the book to bring up discussion. This is bad, that's bad, why did they do this? One of the discussions that to me was one of the most important ones to bring up was not even, it was the rape scene. I mean, the girl that was getting raped said no several times, not once in that class. My son sat through. Teachers say, hey guys, teachable moment here. No means no. Once. That's not okay.
Well, I can't answer that without talking to teachers.
I wish you, all I'm saying is I wish you would.
Okay.
I'm not gonna name names, you know who they are. The public doesn't need to, that's fine.
Yeah, I can talk to them about that.
I would appreciate.
I would concur with that.
Yeah,
Because I've got
that's
a
easy.
here as
You
well.
know, I would have done that in
Never
March if you had said that.
Well,
I did everything else
it
you
was-
asked me to do. You know.
It was all right. And I'm not trying to,
I know.
I just
Well,
want
I can't fix what I don't know about. You know.
fine, if I-
If you had said it then, I would have, because we were still, one of them was still talking about it. It was still in the book. The other one I finished.
Well, right, they
Yeah.
were already past the section, so I was.
Yeah, I know, but I can't, I'm not in the class, so I don't.
No, and I understand, and that would be something to,
Yeah,
we're gonna teach kids
Mhm.
teachable moments, let's teach them teachable moments,
Yeah.
and make sure it's not okay.
I got you. Agree with that.
Can I just, a simple question, this is English class, so I'm curious as to why it was considered appropriate. Is it, was it for the writing style? Is that what they were being taught in this class? I mean, or is it actually to teach a moral lesson? That's kind of my curiosity, because it sounds like it's diving into morality and not about just, hey, this is the type of writing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it just seems like,
It's a highly recommended adolescent book for 8th through 10th graders. It is award-winning. That topic, to be honest, is one that we are dealing with for as far down as 4th grade. Recently as 6 weeks ago for the 4th grader.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
You know what I mean? And it is
But-
one that is being recommended out of all the literature that's coming out, the modern literature reflecting modern times, that is recommended for public schools and all of that. But it's also not only themes, but also the type of writing, the author that's writing, all of those other things.
I'm not looking to beat a dead horse here. I just basically was saying, when you put a teacher in a position as a therapist, you know what I'm saying? This is about, it's an English class. I'm thinking about writing styles, how to write certain styles, how to just maybe understanding information, things like that. I think when you put a teacher in a position like that, then you're moving into their moral compass, and I don't doubt that their moral compasses is fine. That's not what I'm saying. You know what I mean? But when you fall in that, then they fall under kind of a scope as being a counselor, saying, hey, this is wrong, this is right. And I just don't think it matches with an English class in my mind. That's just my 2 cents on it. I think there's other literary piece of literature that would discuss as far as writing styles in this particular form, as far as letter form. That's just my 2 cents, but I feel that's just gets into the whole moral compass thing. And like I said, I have no doubt that these teachers are great teachers. Those are my concerns. You got a teacher in the school district that their moral compass is somehow skewed, and that becomes a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the English teachers, they choose their novels. They recommend their novels. They are the experts in that field. They justify their novels when they choose them at all levels, just as the elementary does when they choose their chapter books and all the rest of it. They are under discussion if they wish to, just as they do all levels for next year. They still stand by their decision for this year. It doesn't mean they're not going to, they make changes every year. So we talk about when we get through the next 19 days, where they're at right now. They believe in what they chose, and they believe why they chose what they did, and they talk about that at the committee meeting. They do believe in parent choice. They do believe that they need to do a better job of doing it, notifying, and that we all can do a better job. We also believe we need to start notifying earlier because of some of the literature that is changing at the lower levels. Some of the things that we're experiencing at the elementary level, which is kind of surprising and kind of blew us away with some of the issues we've been dealing with in the last couple of weeks. Shaking their heads going, you're 9 years old, but that's the new world. What they learn on YouTube and technology and all the rest of it, we've got as a public school, we have got to get in front of it because it's not being taught at home. It is not being around the dinner table. It is in our schools. It is affecting our educational programs. It is affecting our classrooms. And either we get in front of it as a public education, or it is going to seriously have a negative impact on what we're doing. And it's going to take all of us to address it. Some families that are dealing with it at home and around the kitchen table and having those hard conversations, and I applaud those parents who do. But I can tell you that the majority of them are not. It is coming down from the state, and you're going to see some major changes being forced upon public education, which I believe is going to force parents to make choices to go more towards parochial and private, because they're not going to agree with the choices that the mandates that are coming from public ed, and that's a parent's choice. And I have nothing against homeschooling or private or parochial, because in today's world, if I had young children or as I watch my nieces starting their families, I'm not sure I'd put my kids in, especially elementary age, in public school, just because of what the state is going to make public schools do in the future. Just because we are educating all, and we have to respect all, and the boundaries are getting wider. institution. That is what public schools are. We are here for all students, presenting all sides of the issue, not just one narrow focus. So, but we are still under discussion, but that the piece that we had talked about in March.
I appreciate that. I
Yeah.
do. Thank you very much.
And we took it down, you know, to middle school as well, because it might as well start down there, and then parents get, because usually middle school, they look for them, and they go in. So you get used to looking there, you know,
Yeah,
you get more, of them. So those pieces are. Sure.
We want to do business next, go ahead, you got.
Well, I don't know if it's unfinished or new.
I'm still in the book.
Oh.
Okay, Mr. Mancuso, so if like Dr. Shank said, so we're gonna have something pushed from the state as far as the mandatory education, what can we do as a school district and as a board? Let's say if we feel that certain materials are not appropriate for teaching in the classroom, it should be more like elective or delegated to psychology professionals. So what choices do we have?
These are on projected mandates in June. I really can't give an opinion as to that. I mean, it will.
So right now, they're not really existent.
I'm not aware of what she's referencing, so I really can't give you an opinion to it. It'll be based on what the statute says and
Changes that are in the projected standards.
Did I read in one policy? 2/3 vote the board could.
If we recommend, that's if we recommend something. And it's up to you and you don't like it, then it'll take 2/3 of the vote to overturn it. The state mandates something in the standards that's in chapter 4 that says you must teach this in chapter 4 and it's in the state code. That's in the standards that, like, if there's something in the new science standards that is just approved that you don't agree with, and it's in chapter 4, state standards in science, you don't have a choice.
Okay, or
Well, then you're in violation of the state, that's in violation of state code.
and or else what?
And then that, you know, that ends up being on there, it affects all kinds of teacher ratings, that could affect PSEA, that could be unfair labor, that could end up on a whole lot of legal litigation. Because it'll affect your labor groups. Because they're all tested and evaluated on the standards that you were preventing them from teaching, because it's in the school code that they are required to teach in order to have their evaluations, and then it's a domino. Just using that as an example, because the same science standards just got approved, and they're very different than the current science standards.
Back question to the committee and selection. I believe that the teacher that put this book in the syllable was a part of the committee. Is that a conflict of interest?
The English department put the book in. The English department decides what novels go in as a department, just as the English 1 teachers decide on the novels that go into English 4.
That particular curriculum was signed by the teacher. That was on the committee as well.
Right, but it doesn't matter who signs them, they write them as a group.
And were the rest of those teachers also on the committee?
To look at who was on the committee, so as I stated earlier, I was not on the committee. It was not appropriate for me to be on the committee.
Because that definitely, you know,
So in other words, the syllabus is for that particular class at that particular.
Correct.
And her name is on that, his or her name is on that syllabus.
It's on the curriculum document that all the English teachers
All the
write.
teachers.
All the English teachers wrote all 4 levels and all 4 of the 2 AP courses. They write it as a department, because you start at English 12 and you knock it down to 9. And they all are in agreement on the core, for everywhere. Because I could be teaching English 1 this year and I could be teaching English 3 next year. You teach English, you don't teach just one subject, like one level. You could be teaching any, like this, somebody's teaching English 2 this year, and they can be teaching AP English next year. So they have to have input into the entire English spectrum and agree with everything that's being taught. And sometimes they don't necessarily personally agree with the selection, but they still have to teach it if the majority of them, that's something they agree with. And we get into that with some of the other novels that we've had over the years. That's what they agree with. I know that we've taught, what was it, Child Called It, Tuesdays with Maury. And he has been in agreement with those, but it has been over the years been in and out.
Or flowers.
Yeah, or Flowers for Algernon. some of the others that have been in and out.
So my understanding that committee decided to keep the book in the syllabus as of now. So as a board, what can we do if we don't agree with this decision?
Pulling the board for their opinion on these books?
No, it's,
I'm asking, so what are the steps? So if the board does not, if we decide to challenge the committee's decision of keeping the book on the syllabus, so what can we do as a board? How was the procedure?
correct me if I'm wrong, I think I read 2/3 majority could just remove it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. Yeah,
So we would
That's how
have to
I
have a motion that to remove this book from the curriculum.
So I think most of your motions stem from your, so I think it would go through your curriculum committee. Board level.
Thank you. Another thing, that's concerning, I understand that, the discussion was about parents signing off on a particular book. How are the discussions handled in the classroom to discuss the book? If the parents will advocate for a different book for their child, so the children will be moved to a different place? Do they have different discussion with the teacher? Are there going to be different group of the kids discussing what they're reading?
Usually alternate, depending on the number of kids that choose a separate book. If it's one student or half the class, or
So it depends on
the number
of students.
So, but the parent that opted out from a certain material, the child will not be present during discussion, am I correct? And the next, I understand it was to send them at the open house for the transparency. I believe all this material should be available to parents at any point, to be viewed online. So how can we go about it to actually be transparent to the parents? Including the books, the materials, everything
The
that's
book, the
wrong.
list of books, I think, in the class should be listed as part of the curriculum. So that's available online.
Everything is there.
What do you mean by
Everything
everything?
that's,
they've been up since.
Oh,
I was on it.
They've been up for a while.
okay.
Any other unfinished business? Any new business?
Well,
Okay, okay.
I guess, I don't know if it's unfinished or new. I just had some questions on the cook kettles in the kitchen renovation project for Dr. Shank. If that has come up in their, the two large kettles.
Well, there's only one pedal, and there's only one pedal, there's not two.
Well, there was two.
No, the one hasn't been there in years, because it doesn't work and it did not pass inspection.
Years as in
Probably back to 2019.
the last time we would have had the pot pie.
Yeah, that summer.
Soon after we did that, it didn't work.
It did not pass insurance inspection,
Oh,
because it shorted out on the breakers and really heavy electrical. What's there now is blowing all the breakers.
so it's shot.
It's shot too. Yeah, and then we don't use them at all.
There's no chance in the future you might need,
Because we can't cook with them.
or even a replacement.
No,
Not something they're even replacing.
no, because with the way we cook in with the rags and we use all combi ovens to cook. We don't use kettles to cook anymore. There's nothing we cook in our menus with the way that all food is prepared now under the regs for the National Preschool Lunch. We don't use kettles at all.
Well, I guess I'm a little concerned about future things change and they're not there. Would there be, I guess the renovations, would they be too evasive to put them there if they would be needed in the future, or?
You would have to totally upgrade. You just have to spend a lot of money to upgrade the kitchen in order to have them run. that's the problem, is the electrical system in the kitchen. They don't, for one, we don't use them at all. And even when they attempted to use them to heat up soup, which we don't use them because they're heated up in the combi ovens, they blow the breakers. The wiring system is still.
Well, right, I'm
1962.
just saying in the future, as far as. I don't want to get conspiracy theory here or anything like that, but if things change with the free lunch, you gotta start actually cooking food again.
You won't use them for that either. Everything's done in what's called combi ovens now, which is basically like an air fryer.
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Well, no.
It's sort of like when you do in your kitchen now, you can have that, you know, a combi oven, which you can use it as an oven, an air fryer, and, you know, and bacon, whatever else in one little unit. They don't even use ovens anymore in kitchens. It's
So you
all-
don't expect to ever have to worry about making something from scratch, if you will.
No, not in commercial kitchens anymore. Schools, you know.
All I wonder.
But the one that they're part of the problem is the electrical system and that predates me. I mean, blowing those breakers.
Predates me.
Yeah,
All I
that's a
know is
huge
you
issue.
can't put a coffee pot in that plug, you can't do this in that plug, because then everything shuts down,
And then you blow the
and
breakers,
then I have.
and then we almost had a fire, and then,
Oh,
yeah,
trust me.
it's-
Is it time to work on that?
we are working on that.
Okay.
And part of that is the replacement of the ovens that we've been doing and putting the combi ovens run on a 240 circuit versus a 480 circuit. So it pulls half the power, which also is cutting our electric bill in half, which is great too. But it's also pulling half the power, which is allowing us to use less equipment. So instead of running four ovens, we're only running 2 combis. Use the kettles anymore. Had to pull used to be a flat top griddle in there. That thing almost caught fire. Other equipment that is beyond repair out of there, but according to Frank Fehrenbach, dates back to the 60s. And so, yeah, we're trying to get rid of everything that we can that is not passing insurance because that drives rates, but also trying to scrap and resell it because it is, you know, stealing whatever you get for the scrap is money these days. And then putting it back in the fund to help pay for everything else, so, you know, everything counts. That's part of the problem, and then because all of those outlets are also raised. So we're also trying to sync them before we can get them, because once you start raised outlets, that's also an issue on the electrical side. Once you start touching that, then it's like grandfather.
Many of those electrical issues go back to the high school renovation project, 90s. I voted against very few things in this board, I voted against that. That was probably not a good project, and then the electrical problems came around.
So we've been trying to really cut back on how much we're using and how much equipment we have in there. And even the new stuff that we've been speccing out, cut back from the 480s to the 240s. So it's more like what you have in appliances at home versus the commercial 480 power. Just to try and get around the electrical, just trying to, once you break into that, then we're also getting around what's grandfathered. You start doing that, you're talking major money. You'd be better off. Then only starting over, and you don't really want to touch that. It's not cost advantage.
Any other new business? Sure, okay. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. Dr. Marcus so moves. Mr. Hickman seconds the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Everyone stick around? Well, yes, sir. 5-minute break and we're going to executive. Thanks, folks.
Mr. Pollock,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, I'm not going to be able to stay for the executive session. I'm really
Okay.
not feeling well now.
No
I'm
worries.
sorry.
No, thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
No better.
Yeah,
Thanks.
got the extra. She's the expert.
Don't talk about me while I'm not there.
I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
Yeah, so this call is